तो आज का नॉर्थ ईस्ट में फिर से वन स्टेट के पढ़ूँगा। नॉर्थ ईस्ट के बारे में एक स्टेट नाम है जिसका नाम है सिक्किम, तो इसके बारे में पढ़ूँगा। तो सिक्किम को हिमालयन पैराडिक्स बोलते हैं, तो इसके बारे में डिटेल में पढ़ूँगा। तो आप इस वीडियो को देखते रहिए। सिक्किम, Himalayan paradise. Sikkim is a small state surrounded by the high mountains. The state from the state from the 10 territories in the northeastern part of India. Sikkim is bounded to the north by China, Tibet, the kingdoms of Bhutan to the east, Darjeeling district in the West Bengal to the south, and Nepal to the west. Sikkim was known originally as the Nai Maoel, or the heaven. Peoples from the neighboring Tibet called it the Ranzong or the Danzong, or the valley of the rice. Is this a remote land? The Lafes of the Dangjons and the Lambos of the eastern Nepal intermix freely with each other. The marriage between the two communities were common when the Limpu girls married the Lapsa and arrived at the husband's house. She would call it to him. That is her new house. This would then become the Shukkum, and the latter Sikkim. Sikkim has the four districts, namely East District, West District, South District, and North District, where they respectively headquartered in Gangtok, Gyalsing, and the Namsi, and the Mangang. The total area of the Sikkim is 7,996 square kilometer. Land and people. Sikkim lies between 27° and 28° north latitude and between 88° and 89° east longitude. The capital of Sikkim is Gangtok. The three principal ethnic communities of the Sikkim, Lapsas, Barongs, Bhutias, Khampas, and the Nepalese are the natural worshippers, while also the practicing Buddhism and the Hinduism. The the Kanchenjunga peak is regarded as the guardian deity by the Lapsas, and worshipings of the mountain is the major annual event in Sikkim, followed by all the communities regardless of the caste, the creed, religions, and the gender, and the people enjoy equal status. There is no gender disparity and the discriminations. The state government has ensured 33% reservations for women, especially in the panchayat and job. This has led to the empowerment of women in economic roles and the decision making. Widow remarriage has never been an issue. Although there are the single parents in the Sikkimese society, Sikkimese has the relatively high level of literacy. Because of the high literacy, women here are aware of their the right and duties. The principal occupation of the rural peoples of is the agriculture. The major crops are the maize, paddy, wheat, and the millets. Cardamom and the ginger are the main cash crops of the state. Animal husbandry is the another activity that the predominantly shapes the rural economy. Sikkim has the small protection of the land under agriculture and the little of it the under rice. Rice is the staple food of the people, as there is not much the scope for the increasing the land under the agriculture. The stress has been on the horticultural product like tea, cardamom, orchid, ginger, orange, uh, strawberries, vegetable, etc. Sikkim has the another 450 species of the orchids, many with rare the medicinal values. The government maintained or the orchidarium to the protect the species. Coffee, mangoes, hybrid mandarin orange, guava, and olives are also the grow here. The cattle, buffalo, yak, sheep, goats, pig, moles, and the points are the important domesticated animal of Sikkim. Poultry birds are also the races in the different parts of the state. Cattle and the buffalo are the mainly limited to the humid tropical belt and the temperature zone in the high altitude cold areas. Yak in and the important domesticated animal. Sikkim's economy is a large Sikkim economy is the largely agrarian because of the hilly terrain and the lack of the reliable transportations and the infrastructure. There are no large-scale industries. The government food preservation factory (GFPF) is an important factory that the produce the product like fruit juice or an squash passion food squash and the tomato ketchup, tomato puree, orange marmalade, mixed fruit jam, synthetic vinegar, mango pick, etc. Under the brand name of the Sikkim, the Supreme Berries distilling, stunning, and what's the making are the other main industrials. These are the located in the southern pieces of the state, primarily in the towns of the Meli and the Jorthang. Sikkim is the Jewels Limited and the Sikkim Time Corporations are the reputed for their jewelry and the assembly of the watches respectively. Sikkim Temi tea located in the Temi Tarkum in the South Sikkim is the famous for it is the quality spinning of the wool and the weaving of the woolen fabric, tanka, carpet and the rock making and the bamboo craft deserve a special mention among the handicraft of Sikkim. The reopening of the Nathula Pass in April 2006, connecting the Lhasa in the Tibet to India has given a boost to the local economy. This pass, which was the closed since in 1962 Sino-Indian War, was an ancient the pilgrim center and the trade route the extension to the peoples for the border trade in salt, old food and the spices, etc. Traditional games like the archery and stone throwing are also the popular. Sikkimese boys play the thuku stone throwing games. Around the year one, the level pieces of the ground they mark the line and the stand Behind it, they then the thrown the stone one after the another, whoever throw the stone to the fattest distance is the declare in winner. Kite flying is also the popular in the Sikkim. The children from the trekking groups imitate their elders and treks to the nearby hilltops. The sport of the Datsha archery is the organization, the particularly after the celebrations of the Sikkimese New Year. To play this the game, the groups of the five or more persons gather in and often space with their bounds and the arrows they put up at the pole about the height of a man and the fasten the pieces of the square shaped wood to it is the top with a distinct mark mat in the middle. All competitor announces their stick, which they usually is one or two bottle of the sea beer for is the competitor. The winner wins all the pulled bottles as the prize. The modern games such as the football, hockey, badminton, tennis, etc. are also the popular. The government of Sikkim has set up the stadium in the memory of the former crown prince the Palzor Namgyal, who was the good sportsman. The pavilion with the concrete sitting has been constructed there for the public to watch the game. Festival and dance. Festival in the Sikkim are held during the times of the planting, harvest, and others such the occasions. Among the most important festival is the one held to the worships Kanchenjunga, which is the third highest peak in the world and is regarded as the protecting deity by the people of Sikkim. The late Maharaja Sartashi Namgyal had the permitted the British expeditions to the attempt the ascent of Kanchenjunga in 1955 on the condition that the climber would not set their foot on the holy peak. Buddhist paintings depicts and the deity with the fiery red face. Usually readings the white snow lion upholding the banner of the Gileston victory. The deity is the depressed in the multicolored attire and the ornament on the festival day. Dance by the lamas are the performed in his the honor. The traditional of the celebrating this festival, which is known as the Fang uh, Labasol or the worship of the Sonoi range, was first started by the Sador Namgyal 1686 to 1716 CE, the third ruler of the Namgyal dynasty. The following are the dream. Since then, it is the celebrated with the great pomps and show in the August-September every year, symbolizing the victory of the good over evil. Another important festival in the Sikkim is the held to the honor the Padma Shambhava or the Guru Rinpoche, the patron saint of the Sikkim. Lord Buddha births is celebrated every year on the 10th day in the month of the Boishakha, April, May. On this day, the village people to observe the Bhutia festival, Su Su. When the lamas, the lamis, and lay Buddhists they visit the monastery, the public generally visit the Takmos monastery to make the offering of the ghee and the butter for the lamps that are the light before the image of the Lord. This festival is known as Shagdawa among the Lapas. After the end of the January every year, a the big festival is the held at the Lasan, where the lamas dance to the tunes of the sacred music in their colorful robes. This wonderful spectacle of the dance, the lasting 3 days, is known as the Sam. The local musical instruments used are the drum, pipers, Naghya, Rema, and Radu. The Bamsu festival is held at the Tashiding monastery with the great pomp and show on the full moon day of the first month of the year, around the 14 March. Tashiding is the great pilgrimage center for the Sikkimese Buddhist. Losong, which is the New Year festival of the Bhutias, is the celebrated with the great jubilations on 29th and 30th December every year. Annual dance of the lamas are the held at the Tusuk La Khang, adjoining the former Sokyal's chapel. Other Sikkimese Buddhists celebrate their New Year in the November with great gaiety as Lohsar. The celebration lasts for 2 days. Dances are the performance and play the enacted in the honor of the deity Mahakal and the Guru uh, Padmasabha. The Nepalese Hindus observe the Dashehara in October, when the goddess Durga is the worship with the great pomp and the show. This the festival lasts for 15 days. Animal sacrifice are made and the Lord of the dancing, singing and the merrymaking take place. The other important Hindu festival is the Sankranti, which is celebrated every year in the month of January. It is the considered exhibitions to take the ritual but at the confluence of the rivers on this day. The lapas are the fount of music. They are the favorite musical instrument is the long flute, which is the available in the various shape and the size. It is the variant are the known as the punton pa lit or the pa lit can. There is also the double flute the called the Nyang Broeu Pa lit. The women too have the flute called the Tung Dayang, which they play after work in the field is over. Other musical instruments include the drum, metals, gongs, and the harp. The dances play an important part in the Sikkimese life. The dances are the performance on the various occasions like the harvest and other social events. There are also the numerous water dances, the mythological dances, the mystical dances, and so on. Both men and women take part in these the dances. These dances are the accompanied by the chanting and the instrument music, including sound of the flutes, drums, etc. Language. The Nepalese is the lingua franca of Sikkim. However, the English and the Hindi are also the spoken and the uh, understood in the most part of the state. Other languages spoken include the Bhutia, Grung, Lapsa, Limbu, Magar, Masi, Newari, Rai, Sherpa, Sunuar, Tamang, Tibetan, and the Yakha. History. Not much is known about the early history of Sikkim. Informations about the ancient history of this Himalayan region is the best largely on the mythological and legendary accounted that have been uh, preserved by the Buddhist monastery. According to some the anthropologists, Sikkim in the prehistorical times was inhabited by three tribes: Nayong, Sang, and Mon. Later, the Lapas integrated the regions and are the beliefs to have completely uh, absorbed these tribes into the air fort. The origins of the Lapas is shrouded in the mysticism. The scholar believe uh, that their origins can be traced to the Naga clan who lived in the southern flank of the Brahmaputra Valley. They were the worshipper of the natural and were not the origin into the society. They practice the shifting the cultivations to the grow the kales and the vegetables. The number of the legend that exists regarding the migrations of the Tibetans to Sikkim, the name of the Guru Rinpoche seems to be an integral part of the legend as he is believed to have introduced the Buddhism to the region in the 9th century CE. The group predecessors that some that there would be the kingdom on the land, which would eventually unite all the warring tribes. This prediction seems to have been fulfilled with the arrival of the Guru Tashi of the Minyang dynasty from the eastern Tibet, the legendary princess who was the 25th uh, Choshu of the ruling dynasty. Guru Tashi came to the Sikkim on the pilgrimage in the 13th century and was given the title of the Kyam Bongsa, one who possesses the stance of the 1 lakh persons. In the recognitions of the legendary work he did at the Khabe for the Shakya monastery, he marries the daughter of the Shakya chief and settled down with his wife at the Phari in the Sambi Valley. He is credited with having the unit the Lapas and other the tribes to lay the strong foundation for the growth of the kingdom of Sikkim. And the important event in the history of the Sikkim was the rule of Phung Chong Namgyal and the descendant of the Khayam Pumsa. Phutchong Namgyal, born in the Gangtok in 1604 CE, was the conscript in the 1642 CE and conferred with the title of the Sokyal religion's head. The 332 years the period of the Namgyal rule in the significant because it showed the many social and the economical reform. The Funsong Namgyal took step to the bring order in the kingdoms and declared Mohayan Buddhism as the state religions while the making effort to keep the Lapas, the Proteus and the Limpus together. The capital of the Sikkim was then located in the Yoksam. Relation with the British. With the arrival of the British in India, Sikkim the allied itself with the British to the fight there the common adversary, that is the Gorkha kingdoms of Nepal. The Anglo-Gorkha War of 1814 to 1616 between the British and the Nepal, in that with the two successive treaties, while the Treaty of the Sugauli between the British and the Nepal annexed the territories captured by the Nepal. The Treaty of the Titalia between the British and the Sikkim restored the territory of the Sikkim seized by the Nepals. According to S.S. Risley, author of the Gazettery of the Sikkim 1894, the Treaty of the Titalia also gave the British paramilitaries in the Sikkim. The British had their own vested interest in the befriending Sikkim. They wanted to open a direct route through the Sikkim to the Tibet as an alternative to the route through Nepal, and also to counter increasing Russian intrusion into Tibet. The Anglo-Sikkimese state began to deteriorate as the Sikkim had to give away the Darjeeling to the British in 1835 in the return for and the annual subsidy. Relation between the Sikkim and the British sources the feathers than with the imprisonment of two British officials who had entered the Sikkim without obtaining permission from the Soigal. This resulted in the British annexations of Darjeeling and the major protection of the Sikkimese Morang territory. The Sogyal control was conflict to the diminution territory around the Gangtok. Further, the needed of the protections from the Tibet attacks through the Sikkim resulted in the 10 Colossus Agreement of 1895 between the British and the Sikkim, according to which the Sugail and was the only allow the judicial right restrictions of the some of the political powers of the Sogail took place only after the visit of the Princess of the Wales in 1995, who had the cordial relations with the Crown Princess the Sitkrang Tulku. After the independence in 1947, Sikkim received a special protector status under which the Indian control matters relating to the defense, diplomacy and the communications, while the Sikkim continued having the monarchies. However, with the formations of the Sikkim, the National Congress Party, which demand elections and the establishments of the popular democracy voice against the monarchy, began to be the heart in the wake of the anti-monarchical protesters and the popular referendums on the Sikkim's status as part of the Indian Union. The Sikkim finally became the full-fledged states of the Indian Union on the 16th May 1975. The Kazi Landrum Dorji became the first chief minister and the institutions of the Sogyal came to an end in the 1982 with the passing of the last conscript ruler. The natural vegetations and biodiversity. Despite it is the small size, the Sikkim is a geographical diverse owing to it is the location in the foothills of the Himalayas. The trends, the condition range from the tropical in the south to tundra in the north. Kanchenjunga, the world's third highest peak, is the located here, and the Tedless. It is the northern border with the Nepal. The state has the permanent mountain peaks, the glacier high altitude lakes that include the Somgo, uh, Grudongmar, and the uh, Kesiopalri hot spring, and a large number of the rivers and the streams. Some of the mountain passes connected Sikkim with Tibet, Bhutan, and Nepal. Sikkim is the popular destinations for tourists owing to it is the stunning beauty and the political stability. The state shepherd over the hilly trend, the rankings from low to the high elevation with the numerous river lakes and the rivulets. The mountain passes and the valleys, the Nathula and the Jelafa Pass are the located at the elevations of over the 14,000 feet. Along the state the border, the Nathula is the main border point of the China and India in Sikkim. Nathula is located only 50 km from the Gangtok, Changgu, and the Somgo and the Memenchu are the two famous lakes on the route which attract the thousands of the tourists from some and the abroad. The thumb shaped the state of the Sikkim is the characterized by the uneven mountainous trends. Almost the entire the state is the hilly, with and the elevations ranging from 280 meters 920 feet to the 8,585 meters 28,000 feet. The climate ranges from the subtropical conditions in the south to the tundra is the northern most part. The inhabited regions in the Sikkim, however, have either temperate climate with the temperature seldom exceeding 28 degrees Celsius, 82 degrees and 82 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer, and the dropping below to 0 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Fahrenheit in winter. Sikkim has the 5 seasons, the namely winter, spring, the summer, monsoons, and the autumn. The average annual the temperature in the most of the Sikkim is around the 18 degrees Celsius, 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Sikkim is almost among the few states in the Indian to the receive regular the winter the snowfall. The permanent snowing for the state is around the 6,000 meter to 19,600 feet. During the monsoons month, the state is lashed by the heavy rain that increase the frequency of the landslide because of the high altitude in the degree. In the northern region, the temperature at the times drops to the 40 degrees, minus 40 degrees Celsius, and the even develops during the winters. The foggy conditions affected many parts of the state during the winter and the monsoon, making the transportations the extremely perilous. Some eminent personalities Bhutia, one of the Sikkim the most famous songs in and the international food Belbar, born in the village of the Tinikitam near the Gangtok in December 1976. He grew up to be the scholar legend in the country at the 21. He has the youngest player event to the captain is Bengal and later they became the first Indian to play in the English football leagues. He has now the returned to the Sikkim where he the organized football the coachings the camps for the school boy. Denny Dan Jongpa is one of the most famous and the loved the characters in Hindi cinema. He was born and the brought up at the Yeongsam in the West Sikkim. The Sikkim-born actor made his debut in the films uh, Zarurat in 1971. This was followed by memorable performance in the number of hit movies over uh, 3 decades. He is also the uh, stakeholder in the Sikkim's landing brewery production in popular uh, Dansberg brand of beer. Dan Jongpa led the people the protect against the project of the constructing the dam over the Rathong. So in the interest of the environmental protection and was successful in the securing uh, withdrawal of the decision. Place of interest located 21 km from the Gangtok is the historical site called the Kabi or the Kablong Stock. This is the place where the historical agreement of the Blood Brotherhood was researched at the between the Khai Balsa yearly the ancestor of the Namgyals and the Tekong stick. Then the lava shape the memorial stone still adorned the spot bearing the testimony to this the historic agreement, the prayer flags and the curtains surround the hillock where people from the across the state gather with the follower to pay their homage at the distance of the 24 km from the Gangtok. Rumtek is the site where two important Tibetan monasteries of the Karwangpa sect of Mahayana Buddhism are situated. The sound of the chanting lamps, cymbals, drums, and the reed trumpets seem to the great visitors even before the monasteries are the Sigurd. The designs of the monastery follow the Lamasery patterns of the Tibet. The Karampa Lampa hat of the Karango sect in Tibet lived there for the rest of his life after the exile from Tibet. Incense monastery, the Gold Buddhism monastery in Gangtok is located on the Gangtok Nathula Road. The Namgyal Institution of the Tibetology located below the Gangtok has beautiful traditional Sikkimese architecture. The primary purpose of the institute is to the promote Tibetan studies. The Royal Chapel, popularly known as Tusuk Lakhang, was the both at the washing hall and at the venues for the religions congregations until recently. The chapel is one of the finest example of the traditional Sikkim architecture. The orchid sanctuaries located along the Nyamgal institutions of Tibbetology is known for it is the large variety of orchid. Sikkim is also known for the traditional gateway erected at the entrances to many of it is the urban settlement and to the capital Gangtok. In the particular, the gateway entrance to the civil secretary secretary to or the tasseling has a beauty of its own. The deer park near the tasseling is the fascinating attraction to the visitors. It has the image of the Lord Buddha seated in the praising posture. The offer the sanctuary for the deer bird from the different part of the Sikkim and the world. The Cottage Industries Institute is in the Academy of the Art and the Craft, the whose the bodies the beautiful hand when the hulun, the carpet with the unique traditional Sikkimese the motifs and the designs and the fascinating patterns and the color combinations handmade the Sikkimese foldings tables are also the manufacturing here in the different shape, size, patterns and the designs. Handmade the Sikkimese paper is the another sovereign produced by the institute. The Sikkim is the beautiful hilly state in the northern Himalayas. It is the proximity with the Himalayas, distinctive Buddhist culture marked by the beautiful monastery and easy the accessibility from the mainland has the made it a popular tourist attraction within the country and about it the effort toward the become the first fully organic state of the Indian have also given it a remarkable presence in the country. थैंक यू सो मच इस वीडियो देखने के लिए थैंक यू